Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session on building a culture of continuous improvement, fostering feedback and psychological safety. Today, we'll create an environment where failures are turned into stepping stone for success. To start with, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Sakshi Nasha, a senior software engineer at Cohesity. Apart from just being an engineer, I like to engross myself with a lot of communities. I run many communities in Pune, be it AWS user groups, community builders, Google Developer Group, MongoDB, FOSS, Free and Open Source Pune. So I am driven by community contributions, and I'm part of Open Search team as well. So communities have shaped my future, and that's how I've been shaping things up in my life. I'm open for any such contributions in communities, and feel free to reach out to me on my LinkedIn. I'll walk you through my LinkedIn profile. Let's now quickly deep dive about what we're going to talk today. So, before just understanding on what continuous improvement is and how these continuous improvement help platform engineers deal with the problems of the developers, I will just start with what platform engineering is, then take you through some of these surveys. So let's just kick start with it. What is platform engineering? So platform engineering is aims to actually I mean it aims to actually deal with the problems of the developers, from the pain points to directly helping them deploy code faster with reducing the time to market. And this is not just for modern organizations, be it large enterprise or for startups. It's for any such organization. So platform engineering is the need of the hour. I'll walk you through some of these surveys that tell why platform engineering is important. And platform engineering basically deals with enhancing productivity, reducing the time to market, increasing the speed to market, right? And increasing it's like a catalyst in the development process. And the key objective, as I already discussed, it's actually solving the problems of the developers and helping them, empower them with some tools and some add-on capabilities that can help them increase their productivity. Now, let me just walk you through some of the rising industry focuses. You can scan this code. I did a survey, I read a survey on Gartner, which say that 80% of the organizations will adopt platform engineers by 2026. And that's huge, right? 80% is really a huge number. And why is it important? How platform engineers help in the process and increase the productivity? I'll walk you through that. And this is not just on one domain, be it ServiceNow or Twilio. It's cross functional domain that these platform engineers will work on. Let's now understand why platform engineering is the need of the hour, because I like to keep it why before how. So cultural challenges that are faced by platform engineers, according to me, these are some of the challenges that are faced. And the first one being manual controls. So manual steps increase a lot of friction between these teams, right? Between the platform engineers, between DevOps, between developers, between operational teams, between support team. More the manual steps, more is the friction in the software development life cycle. And more is the friction between the software development life cycle, less is the velocity of the team, right? Less is you get more time to work on not so important tasks, and this reduces your productivity and increases your team frustration ultimately. So we need to understand that friction needs to be decreased as minimal as possible. And some of the other issues that increase the friction in the team are organization silos. So many such cross-functional team work isolatedly without understanding other team. Their collaboration is not that good, and they are not feeling safe to talk about it. So there's lack of trust that goes on, and the fear of failure obviously comes in because these teams are not working in sync or in collaboration. And this really slows down the iteration cycle, and this ultimately undermines the goal of platform engineers. The main goal of platform engineer is to increase the productivity, reduce the time to market, and obviously solve the problems of the developers, right? So these are some of the current challenges that are faced by platform engineering these days. We'll just walk through what continuous improvement is, how continuous improvement can deal with all of these problems, how continuous improvement is helping this up. So what is continuous improvement? Continuous improvement is it's self-explanatory, right? That it's continuously being done without getting it's not a one stop goal, right? It's just continuously going on with ongoing, it's an ongoing journey, right? It's not just one time goal. So with each iterations you're performing some kind of action which is determining your next step of action. So it is small incremental changes, be it in your products, be it in your processes, be it in your team, to increase your performance overall. So in our teams, obviously a team is consist of way different kind of people with different experiences, right? Like some may be a senior, way senior, and some may be just a fresher, right? So a team is bonded with various different capabilities, and you need to understand that with new coming trends, the experienced person needs to learn, unlearn the older things and learn up the new things, and the fresher obviously learns up the new thing in a better way. So it's a balance between learning and unlearning new things, and older things that need to be forgotten. So it's adaptation that plays an important role in continuous improvement, and this ultimately reduces the waste, increases the productivity, and inefficiencies are reduced. So it's a regular reflection that takes place in the team, in our personal environment that we work. We always have some retrospection meetings where we understand what each teammate feels of this part of the process that we are following for this release. So these regular reflections are very much important, and retrospection obviously helps you understand where you are and what you want to achieve in the next few iterations, right? So these steps are very much important for evolving over time with continuous improvement. So that's what continuous improvement means. Now we should understand how can we incorporate this continuous improvement in our feedback. These continuous improvements have some tools known as feedback loops. How can we incorporate these continuous improvement in our platform engineering life cycle? And firstly, why before how. So why these feedbacks and psychological safety are important for platform engineers? The current challenges that I already discussed, right? The psychological safety is not that good in any of the team. They feel that fear of failure, that if they speak up, it's gonna be they're gonna be judged, right? They don't openly say their ideas or admit their mistakes. There's this fear that is developed. So you need to understand that any of such team has to work in a two-way thing. It's not just communication that you just speak up your thing and you are done. It's also about admitting your mistake. It's also about reflecting the feedback that you get. So it's a two-way comprehension that goes on. The psychological safety measures are very important, and feedback obviously will help you in continuous improvement, continuous learning, problem solving, and course correction. So course correction is very important according to me, because with changing time, maybe your needs would change, right? So if your needs are changing with time, you need to also understand that your course or the process that you're following needs to also update with each release. So platform engineers have to incorporate these feedback cultures, and ultimately the psychological safety and feedback culture will together in sync help to build a healthy strong bond between your teams, which is trustworthy, accountable, and collaborative. So the organization CEO challenge is catered very well, and this will ultimately increase your team performance. That's about why it's needed. Now there are a few ways out that how can we incorporate continuous improvement in our platform engineering team. According to me, these are three main ways out. Firstly, being feedback loops, which I somewhat touched in the previous slide. Second is how can we empower our developers with some self-service guide rails that can help them easily deploy and increase their productivity. We'll walk through how these are to be done. The third being stakeholder communication. So this, according to me, is the most important way out here, because if you're not understanding what your needs of your stakeholders are, then you're not really solving the problem of the stakeholders and taking your business constructively, right? So let's walk our way out through three of these solutions. Firstly, being feedback loops. Feedback obviously is a journey. Again, it's not just one time. Once you have developed some feature, you take the feedback and you incorporate. It's not like that. It doesn't come after the stage. It's needed at every stage of the development life cycle. So it's you input, you take some action, you learn through the process, and you mark your feedback into the improvement. And these feedbacks that are taken from the platform engineers, the feedbacks that platform engineers take, they can be of two types. Firstly, being directly interacting with your developers, that developers' pain points are catered directly. So maybe if you are working in office, not virtual, so it's a you just work in an office hour and you understand what the pain points of your developers are. Or it could be maybe from a Slack channel if you're working virtually, right? That what the problem of a developer is faced, and then you take it up from there. Or maybe the developers have some feedback forms that can help you understand if it's a cross functional team and you're working in a different time zones, right? So maybe surveys, feedbacks, forms can help you understand what the pain points of a developer are. Secondly, this first solution of developer feedback is very straightforward and very direct, right? It's a one stop solution that you directly interact with your developer, and whatever the feedback you get, you just improve on that. Second would be not in direct method, it's an indirect method, because your application needs to be run, right? And once your application is running, it generates some metrics, some logs, some audit trails. So all of these combinedly, when you monitor these stuff, these are called as platform telemetry. So when you monitor these stuff, all of the feedbacks coming from this alerts monitoring tools will actually add on to your development lifecycle, and that can help you improve your system and increase your productivity. So these are two kinds of feedbacks that need to be incorporated. And ultimately, the mindset tip that I always say, platform engineering is a journey. It's not a big bang one stop solution, a top down approach that it's done this way and it's done. No, it's an iterative process. With time you evolve. So it's just like that. And how these feedback loops are to be incorporated in platform engineering team, how can we embed that? So mostly people think that once the process is developed, you just deploy the application and then you monitor logs or take the feedback from the stakeholders and then you put it in. I don't believe in this, because feedbacks need to be incorporated at every stage, not just at the post launch stage. It needs to be incorporated in the planning phase, development phase, launch phase, pre launch phase, post launch phase. So, all of these combinedly will create an environment that will make you reach the ultimate goal of satisfying your customers. So, planning is very important for starting it right. If you don't understand your needs and prioritize what is need of the hour in this release cycle, then you are missing out on time as well, right? So early needs of the customer need to be addressed with prioritization of what's important in this part, so that will add on to your feedback. So engaging with your developers, the pain points of the developers need to be understood very well before. In the development phase, obviously you give demos, there are previews that are done with what the feature is going to cater. So these development phases also important for feedbacks to be taken into account. Obviously, launch and pre-launch phase will collect feedback directly from the developers or from the metrics that we already from the telemetry that we already discussed. So no two companies are same, right? And each companies will have the different needs for their stakeholders. So with understanding that perspective, you need to obviously understand what your internal customer needs are, and with that needs you need to incrementally design a course which will address to all of these needs and evolve over time. It's not a one stop course that will be incrementally designed. With each iterations, you will incorporate feedback and then improve on your course, right? So it's an evolving journey that will be embedded at every phase of the software development life cycle. Second solution, the first solution we discussed, just recapping it up, feedback loops, how can we incorporate that and why is it important for continuous improvement? Second, which I think will be differentiating here, that how platform engineers will empower the developers with some self-service guide rails that are there. So the ultimate goal that we already discussed, right, is reducing the developers trial. So whenever the developers are facing some problem, you or the platform engineers, I suppose, should develop some tool at least that are self-guided, self-explanatory, and they can be used by the developers and easily get from that problem. So some of these things that I have here is automation and policy. Obviously, these self-service guidelines that are created need to automate the process, reduce the manual steps. Ultimately, it should ensure that security, compliance, operations, all of these external thing which doesn't affect the logic actually of the developers, they need to be addressed well before. And that's not why developers should spend time on such compliance problems, right? And let's consider a platform engineer has developed a tool, and the developer is using that, I mean, it's new to that tool. So the developer shouldn't spend much time in learning that tool. Rather than, it should be a pick and drop solution. It should pick it up, that should be used enough, trained enough, self-explanatory, use it up, and then he should just come out from that problem, whatever the problem the developers were facing. So the paid paths with minimal learning curve should be developed. It should be easily adaptable to developer automacy. And these key enablers, be it infrastructure as a code, CI/CD pipelines, GitOps tools, all of these tools that are developed by the platform engineers should be in key enablers for the developers' productivity. It should just be pick it up, use it up, and it should increase the productivity. So it's like a catalyst. It should work like a catalyst, and the ultimate outcome is obviously consistency over developers, operations, and management. There is less time that the developer actually faces in managing those stuff up. And this is about some of the guide rails. Now I'll walk you through what these guide rails are. So the first guide rail that I feel is governed by design. So I would like to say a scenario here. Let's consider there are two kids. One kid learns, I mean, you make that kid learn how this process is done. And you start the right way, that this is how it's to be done, and you make him learn this way. So with due course of time, the child is performing really well, and you don't need to come back and make him learn again, right? Because you started it at the right place. Let's consider a kid too who has some past experience in doing such activity, but that's not the way how it's to be done. So you will work with that kid to unlearn the first part, which is the wrong way. You'll correct him up that this is not how it's to be done, and this is the way it's to be done. And then you have to keep monitoring the kid as well with due course of time, right? So it's an extra effort of maintenance plus additional efforts that are needed to make him learn unlearn, right? So you did not start right, but you can stay right in the later stage. So this is what start right, stay right advantages are. So obviously you can understand that the kid one who started right will perform, I mean, you don't need to put in extra effort or maintain that thing. So that is how advantages if you start right. And the start right, platform engineers develop some templates. These templates are very much important for developers to take those templates from day one, which will ensure that their applications, the foundation is very very secure and compliant. So you understand the development teams will start right, and with automation and policies taken into account, which will address scanning, embeddings, ensuring that compliancy is taken very well. So they don't need to spend time in maintaining that, and they don't need to slow down their process to stay compliant and secure. And with time they are staying right with the feedback loop getting incorporated here. So it's start right, stay right principle with automation and with feedback loops. The second guide rail that's important is templates, ensuring that your governance, security, and optimization is in place. So templates are not just a starting point. It's not just how you start, but it's beyond the bootstrap, because you have some sustainable practices taking place in the templates, right? You don't need to spend an extra time to test those templates because they are already test proven, right? So you don't spend much time. You reduce the redundant spends across tools, vendors, cost optimization. So it's an overall win-win situation because you're reducing the time to market, and you are increasing the productivity of the developers, right? Because the templates will ensure the policies are in place. So ultimately your risk taking capability, your manual efforts are reduced a lot. So templates are a strategical lever which will ensure sustainability, security practices, and cost effective places are to be taken. Last but not the least, but the most important part of how can continuous improvement be incorporated in psychological safety is stakeholder communication, and that's way much important. You need to understand what your organization is solving the problem with. Are your customers really happy with what you're providing? Each organization is different, so each customer will be different, and all stakeholders, be it small, big, enterprise, startup, all need to be taken very seriously, very valued, and appreciate their feedbacks to be taken. So build a customer centric platform by listening and evolving, taking feedbacks very importantly. Like whenever we develop any such feature in our product, we ask ourselves, is this just an improvement over the past thing which was taken from the stakeholder, or is this a really needed new feature that can confuse our customers, right? So you need to understand with your customers how they are feeling about your product. So stakeholder communication is very important. These are what I wanted to discuss, how psychological safety and feedback loops will together work in your continuous improvement. Last, I would like to discuss about some tips that can help you get really honest feedback from your developers and the users, which is the need of the hour. Because communication is just one part, but you need to understand that comprehension is very important. You just don't need to you can feel I mean speak freely, but you need to also understand that you have to take I mean admit your mistakes with not the fear of punishment, or normalize sharing feedbacks, maybe constructive, maybe I mean in a constructive way, with that not so fear of judgment. And you should create an environment with asking questions, and curious mind should come up. And reporting failures, be it your I mean it shouldn't be a blame game that goes on in your team. You should view your mistakes as an opportunity to grow. That's how a failure positive approach needs to be taken. And ask questions openly. Like when I started, I was very curious. I used to ask very, I mean, no question is silly, right? So just keep that mind aside and just act stupid that you don't know anything. It's very easy to act stupid, and it takes really hard to be intelligent in this world, trust me. So take this advice. So honest feedbacks will be really, really important, and these are some of the tips that I had from my past experiences. That's all about what I wanted to talk. Thank you to platform engineering team for having me here, giving me an opportunity, and thanks to all the listeners for being so patient. And I'm open for any feedbacks from my past slides, or anything you want to collaborate with me in the future. Connect with me. This is my LinkedIn, and we can maybe chat over any of my contributions in my community, or what I use in my day-to-day engineering mindset. So yeah, I'm open for any feedback. I would look forward to any of such feedback from you. Yeah, thank you for having me. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye.